All right, Greek folks, it's time to grade the quiz on chapter 21. So if you have your quiz completed and in front of you, we can go through grading this like we would in class. Here we go. We start with the vocab, and we're going to start on the left-hand side. Akalutheo is I follow, gnosko I know, thelo I wish, I will, or I desire, didasko I teach, Judaios is Jewish or Jew. And as we move to the right-hand column, pollen is again, therefore, thalassa is sea or lake, pos is how, and hos is as or like. Just one little note about thalassa, sea or lake. The reason why this is sea or lake is like the Sea of Galilee is actually is a lake. It's not this huge sea. It's just a lake. So thalassa, sea or lake. Okay, let's keep going. All right, let's talk about grammar. How do you translate the imperfect? And there's two things we're looking for here. There's 2 points. We got past time and continuous aspect, as opposed to the aorist, which is going to be past time simple occurrence or past time undefined aspect. The imperfect is translated past time continuous aspect. So if you just got one of those, give your mark one wrong. There's 2 points possible there. Okay? All right. Let's keep going down. What are the 4 parts of the verb in the imperfect? And so we start with an augment. We've got a present tense stem. Present tense stem. This is where we start to get into needing to see what tenses the stems are in when we're composing verbs. So like with the aorist, we're going to need an aorist tense stem. In the present, we get a present tense stem. In the imperfect, we get a present tense stem as well. So if you don't have present tense stem, if you have a tense stem, then give yourself half a point. If you don't have present, then take off half a point as well. Okay? Then you got a connecting vowel, and then you have, it's not just personal endings, it's secondary personal endings. This is the imperfect. So it's secondary personal endings. Take a half point off if you don't get that. Anyway, there's 4 possible points here. Grade yourself as needed. All right? Let's keep going on down. We write out the imperfect, active, and passive using luo. And so here we have, remember our endings, our secondary active endings are on, sn, amen, eta, on. And we have the augment on there. So eluon, elus, eluen, eluamen, eluate, eluon. These are where the accent marks should be. If you don't have the accent marks where they don't worry about accent marks, I guess is the point. And these are smooth breathers on here. And so we're just looking for the forms on this. Okay? When we move over to the middle passive, our endings are main sa ta, methaset the unta, the sa, the second singular. We've got that intervocalic sigma that drops out, and it becomes, and we have the augments on here. So elu amen, elu eluata, elu ametha, eluasta, and elu anta. Okay, so those are your active and your passive. There are 12 points possible, 1 for each one. Again, don't worry about the accent marks. And these are smooth breathers. Don't worry about the smooth breathers. I'm just looking for to see if you've got your augments as well as your endings, whether they are active, secondary active endings or secondary middle passive endings. Okay, so that is page 1 of your quiz. Let's talk about page 2. All right, page 2. Page 2, what are the basic rules for augmentation? The basic rules for augmentation is you are going to add an epsilon on the front of the verb. That's how you augment. Now, if the first letter of your verb is a vowel, then that vowel will lengthen. So adding an epsilon or lengthening the vowel. Those are the 2 basic rules for augmentation. Okay? And then how do you augment a compound word? By the way, number 5 is worth 2 points. Number 6 is also worth 2 points. How do you augment a compound verb? You augment after the preposition and before the verbal stem. So that's how you augment a compound verb, like ekbalo. Ekbalo, ek is the preposition, and balo is the stem. The augment goes between the preposition and the verbal stem. So after the preposition, before the verbal stem. 2 points possible there. All right, let's parse. So as we parse, I'm going to put this over here so we can see. As we parse, no points for this, but you just need to know you got to do person and number, tense, voice, mood, lexical form, inflected meaning. So person and number, tense, voice, so active, middle, or passive, mood, indicative at this point, lexical form, and inflected meaning. So let's just walk through these, and we can see how this goes. So this is, and I've put the lexical form down here, which I think is the best way to start. So eperotontai, okay, our lexical form, we learned this verb this week, eperotao, which is to ask or to demand or to ask for something. Eperotao. So one of the things is we look on this could, I wasn't meaning to be tricky, but this is not an augment. This is part of the verb, eperotao. So you can see we haven't done any augmenting, and plus this isn't an augment, and these are primary middle passive endings. So what we're going to see, the untai, excuse my left-handedness, the untai is going to be a third plural. We're going to see that this is a present. It's not a middle only, and so this is going to be a passive, present passive indicative of eperotao, and the, if we can find this, excuse me, and the inflected meaning is they are being asked, or they are asked. So it's a present. So they are asked. Okay. So do we see that? That's a primary ending. So that's a present, middle passive, indicative. Okay. Our next verb is gnose. Gnose, say gnose. The lexical form of this is gnosko, gnosko, and we see that this stem is changing here. We don't see a present tense stem. We also see a tense formative sigma. We see this iota subscript here. So this tense formative sigma, what does it tell us? It tells us that this is a future. A future. And this tense formative sigma is going to show us that this is a second singular, that my psi, that psi, that intervocalic sigma is dropping out. And this is going to be a future middle indicative of gnosko, and it would be you will know, or you will know for yourself. You will know. All right? That's gnose. All right, number 3, eginamein. Eginamein. Lexical form is ginamai. I don't think we've had this before, but ginamai is a verb that occurs quite a bit in the Greek New Testament. You will learn it. Ginamai, I become, I am, I exist. And what we see here, we have an augment on this, on ginamai. We have an augment, and we have a secondary ending. So what does that tell us? I see this present tense stem here. I see that right here. It's going to tell me that this is a present. The main here tells me it's a first singular. We've got a, and because here, present tense stem, this is a middle only or a deponent, that this is going to be middle only or deponent and indicative. A present middle only indicative of ginamai, I become, I am. And in this case, this would be as an imperfect, I'm sorry, did I say present? Oh, I'm so sorry. Imperfect. It's stage fright is what it is, just trying to do this. An imperfect, middle only indicative. And in this case, the inflected meaning would be I was becoming. Okay. And then number 4, agapon. Agapon, say agapon. From agapao, what we can see here is we've got an augment, we have the contract vowel, we've got our secondary endings, and so what we've got is we either have a first singular or a third plural. We don't know because we don't have we're not translating. It's either one of those, and it is going to be an imperfect, active, indicative of agapao, and the way we would inflect this is we would say, I was loving, or they were loving, because of the ambiguity here, first singular, third plural. All right, so that is total. Each one of these is worth a point. So 28 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here. On the front page, you've got, so basically what you have is you have a total of 60 possible points. Please mark the number incorrect at the top, whatever that is, and then the number, so if you miss 2, then the number correct over 60, and then scan that and upload it to the quiz assignment, and that would be fantastic. All right, thank you guys. I will see you in the next video.